The winter of 2025 came early to Ukraine. The snow fell in heavy silence over the broken streets of Kharkiv, turning the city's scars white for a few fleeting hours. The war had entered its third bitter year, and though the world had grown quieter about it, the guns never stopped speaking. Captain Alexander Kovalenko adjusted his cracked helmet and stepped over a frozen puddle of blood. He was 34, a former history teacher who had once lectured about ancient wars, now living inside one. His unit, the 93rd Mechanized Brigade, had been holding the Eastern Front since October, facing wave after wave of drone assaults and armored pushes. The night before, they had intercepted Russian chatter hinting at a massive strike, not just artillery, but new hypersonic drones equipped with AI targeting systems. If Kharkiv fell, it wouldn't just be a loss of land. It would shatter the morale of an entire nation. In the dim bunker beneath an abandoned metro station, Alexander looked at his small team, real men with tired eyes, faces smeared with soot and frozen sweat. There was Andriy, the medic who hadn't slept for 2 days, Denis, the drone operator whose younger brother was missing in Mariupol, and Katerina, the only woman in their squad, a communications officer who once designed software for civilian companies before war turned her code into survival tools. At 4:20 a.m., the sirens wailed. The enemy drones were coming. The sky turned orange as explosions ripped through the outer blocks. Buildings collapsed like sandcastles. Alexander barked orders through the radio, his voice trembling between command and prayer. Positions. Keep eyes on the ridge. Denis, send the recon bird. Their homemade drone, patched together from consumer parts and battlefield scrap, lifted into the smoke-filled air. On the small cracked tablet screen, they watched the enemy advance, a column of armored vehicles moving through the ruins. Too many, Denis whispered. We can't stop that. We can slow them, Alexander said. Long enough for reinforcements. The squad moved through alleyways, setting up portable missile launchers and trip mines. Snow and ash mixed on their boots. Every sound, the crack of ice, the whir of a distant drone, felt like a heartbeat counting down. Then came the first blast. A Russian tank exploded in a burst of flame, scattering burning metal across the street. Denis laughed for the first time in weeks, then screamed when a second explosion hit closer. Their own drone had been shot down. Katerina's headset crackled. HQ says reinforcements delayed. We're on our own. Alexander exhaled, then looked up at the pale dawn breaking over Kharkiv's shattered skyline. Then we hold, he said simply. For 6 hours, they fought block by block, turning the city's ruins into a maze of resistance. Every window became a rifle nest. Every burned-out car, a shield. Andriy dragged the wounded behind makeshift barricades, muttering the Lord's Prayer in between bandages. At noon, as ammunition ran dry, the snow turned red again. A Russian drone hovered above, its red laser dots sweeping across the rubble. Alexander saw it, aimed his rifle, and fired 3 shots. The drone fell like a dead bird. But another came. Then another. He turned to Katerina. Send the last signal. Tell command Kharkiv still stands. She typed furiously on the old radio terminal, fingers shaking. The message went out seconds before the bunker took a direct hit. When the dust cleared, the city was silent once more. 3 days later, Ukrainian reinforcements reached the ruins and found the squad's position. Among the debris, they discovered the charred radio, still blinking faintly with the final transmission. Kharkiv still stands. News spread like fire. Across Ukraine, people painted those words on walls, on tanks, on their hearts. And somewhere in that frozen battlefield, beneath the snow and silence, Captain Alexander and his team became part of history, not for the war they fought, but for the dawn they refused to surrender.